I mean, as you can imagine, there were plenty of people in Liverpool that were against that were against abolition of the slave trade. Obviously, because the town derived so much revenue from transatlantic slavery, and they didn't want to see this disappear because obviously it would have put them out of business.
So clearly, most of Liverpool's businessmen, most of the city's elite would have been in some way engaged in and profiting from the transatlantic trade. You know, Liverpool MPs were often prominent defenders of the trade in Parliament in Westminster. You know, so Liverpool MPs would set their faces against abolition because of the interests of the city in the continued, you know, trade.
Of course, you've got to remember it's not just the big people that are pro-slave trade. You've got to remember that, you know, it's the tradesmen, the artisans, you might say, people a little bit lower down the social hierarchy. They are the ones that are equipping the slave vessels. So it's not just the elite who are in support of slavery, it's also people lower down the social hierarchy, you might say. After the slave trade is abolished in 1807, several Liverpudlians become involved in the movement to try and eradicate slavery in the British Empire. It's not until the middle of the 19th century that slavery actually comes to an end. It's only the trade that ends in 1807. By the middle of the 19th century, slaves are emancipated, there is a difference. After the slave trade comes to an end, more Liverpudlians become involved in the abolitionist crusade.
So in terms of slavery's legacy for Liverpool, if you walk around the city today, you'll still see street names, or there are streets named after some of the most prominent figures involved in the slave trade. If you go to the banks on Water Street, you'll see images of African children carved into the walls there. So there is a kind of visual legacy of slavery in the city. Many of the city's grandest buildings would have been financed in part through profits from the trade.